Hello, everybody. I'm back with another video. I didn't put. I've been trying to put one up each Sunday, but this past Sunday I just didn't feel like it, so I skipped it. But I'm gonna put one up today, or at least I'm gonna try to. So, the subject I chose to talk about today is therapy, and it's interesting because it seems like in this day and age, therapy is sort of like this popular thing. It's this we live in this sort of therapy crazed society. You go on YouTube, you get these ads for these different therapy services and saying about how to hook you up with a therapist. And I don't know, it just seems like in this day and age, everybody's so unhappy. Everybody's so confused. There's really no, we kind of live in an age where there's really no commonly accepted set of norms and standards. So everybody's just kind of lost and drifting aimlessly because they really just don't know what to do because everything is so ambiguous nowadays. So surprise, surprise, in a society like that, you know, everybody's saying, oh, you should go to therapy to help you figure stuff out. And I do like the idea of therapy. I think that, sometimes people do just need someone to help them figure stuff out and listen to them. And I think that's got a lot of value in it. But I think so many people, how do I put this? Like maybe we've had an oversaturation of therapists or therapy speak even has entered the popular culture to such an extent that everybody thinks they know everything about how people work. So I don't know. Wonder sometimes if maybe I wonder if it's like we have more therapists because more people need therapy, or we have more therapy and more talk about therapy because so many therapists need business. And I wonder, like, is it a chicken and egg thing? Like, did the thing about therapy is it seems like it's dominated by women nowadays. Like most of the therapists you go to are women, and you know, women do have certain things. Like in some ways, it's easier to talk to women about stuff because they at least tend to be more patient. They tend to be more, you feel more, it's like the old stereotype. Well, women are nurturing, and when you're around a woman, you can feel more safe and more nurtured or whatever. And I guess there's some appeal to that, but you know, there's also sometimes maybe they're a little too nice or uh, they're a little too conciliatory or whatever. That could also be a problem, but I don't know. It's a balance. It's a trade off. So what am I saying here? I did want to talk a little bit about my own experiences with therapy and talk about why I'm kind of at a point now where I think I don't want to do therapy anymore. Like I do have a counselor that I talk to regularly, but that's kind of a different thing, which he's not a therapist. He's more of an advisor on certain life things. But anyway, that's another story. So I've been to quite a few therapists in my day. And, I was diagnosed with ADD as a kid, as I think I've said in other videos. So I think because of that, I had to see therapists regularly so they could give me medication for it and talk to me about stuff. And I don't know, to me, it was just something I had to do. I didn't really think much about it. And I just go to these people and I talk to them, and it's like, okay, great, whatever. I didn't feel personally attached to any of them. I just was just a kid doing what my parents told me to do. Like, okay, you're going to go have a session with Dr. So and so today, and I'll just talk to you about stuff or whatever, you know, whatever. I don't have any particularly fond or bad memories of it, although I do remember one of these people tried to talk about politics with me when I mentioned that I was a fan of Rush Limbaugh. Yeah, it was the 90s, folks. Yeah, I mean, I guess nobody listens to Rush Limbaugh anymore because he's no longer with us, but he was an entertaining guy in his day, and I probably would agree with him for the most part politically, but yeah, anyway, um, don't hate me, folks. But so yeah, it's the only time I ever felt like, and I guess there's also school counselor type people, school therapists who would talk to me about stuff, and I don't know, it was kind of weird. Like they always seem like they're nice people, nice ladies usually, but how much do they really know what they're doing? I mean, they occasionally get a sense that the grown-ups don't completely know what they're doing, or they don't completely understand what's happening with you, or they don't completely know what to say to you. So, I just, I didn't to me, that was just stuff I have no real particularly fond memory of. It's just something I had to do. And whatever the case, I don't know that they helped me much, but maybe I'm not remembering something. But yeah, therapy isn't really taken for me. And, I've tried to get sessions with different therapists over the years. Sometimes it was only like one or two, but it didn't really go anywhere because I don't know. I think maybe my problems are just deeper than I've ever really been able to get with a therapist. So that makes it kind of harder to just to really get in there. Like maybe I've heard psychiatry is a different thing where they really dig deeper, and maybe that would be what I could something that could help me. But that's not what I've ever had. And I actually did take a semester of college classes when I was in my 30s, and the school I went to has like a counseling center, and they offered a certain number of sessions for students there, and so I tried to take advantage of that while I was there. And again, like the woman I talked to, she was very nice and stuff, but I didn't feel like I was really gaining a whole lot out of it. Ultimately, it was just sort of I want to go talk to somebody, but I didn't feel like I was really getting any real insights into my own person, my own psychology that could help me make the necessary changes. And I did try some therapy a few years back with people online, and again, nice people, nice ladies, but I didn't think that there was, at the end of the day, I don't think I got it was nothing more than, hey, here's somebody who'll listen to you for a while and be nice to you. So great. But, it just kind of stopped for whatever reason. And I don't know if it ultimately had any long-term benefits. And that brings me to the last therapist I went to, which was last summer. And this was a man, and he was a boomer. So let's just call him Boomer Therapist. And I know ragging on boomers is like kind of a meme at this point. It's kind of a tired subject, but you know what I mean. When people talk about boomers, you know what I mean. I mean, like he's a guy who's from an older generation. I think he was born in the 50s. So he's definitely a boomer. And he kind of doesn't understand what people today are dealing with just because, he's past, things have changed a lot since he was that age. I mean, even me who's in his 40s, even I'm kind of, too young for him to really understand fully. But anyway, so yeah, this experience with therapy left a really bad taste in my mouth, and it's kind of made me think I don't even know if I want to bother anymore. Maybe you could say he was the last straw where I finally realized pursuing therapy is a waste of time for me. So I went to 3 sessions with this guy, and the first 2 did not go very well. And I remember thinking I was going to try to give it 3 sessions because I think I'd heard somewhere that like you should give a therapist 3 sessions before you know whether you want to stick with them or not. And the first 2, like I said, did not go well because I was frustrated because I felt like he wasn't really listening to me. I felt like he didn't really care. In fact, sometimes when I was there, he seemed like he was just kind of annoyed that I was talking to him and that he just wanted to get it done with as quickly as possible. And weirdly enough, I felt like I was listening to him more than he was listening to me. Like when I try to talk about my own experiences, he'd start talking about his experience. Like, oh yeah, well, and like I did this and this and this. And a lot of times he actually kind of seemed dismissive of my own problems. Like, for example, one time I was getting kind of impassioned talking about something that my brother did to me that really hurt me. And he was just kind of like, yeah, well, brothers do that. My brother and I, we used to kid each other. Like I'd see him coming, then I'd say this to him and he'd say this back to me. Then we'd start fighting, but it was all in fun. And I'm like, okay, great. That's you and your brother, but that's not me and my brother. So clearly the fact that that I would get upset talking about what he did should tell you that, it really hurt me and that really upset me that he did this. So when you just kind of act dismissive toward me, it doesn't make me feel like I'm really being listened to or heard here. And, I remember at the end of the second session, I basically told him, I really don't feel like you understand what I'm going through. I don't think you understand what I'm dealing with here. So, like, I don't see what the point of doing this is if you're not going to really listen to me or try to help me figure stuff out. And, I was talking about how I've had trouble throughout my life holding down a full-time employment due to my various issues. He's like, well, look, you need to get a full-time job. And I'm thinking, well, are you going to help me figure out why I can't seem to do that? Or are you just going to, it's like the old, you just need a kick in the butt kind of thing. And I decided to give him one more session after that because I felt like, 3 sessions, we'll see. And to be fair, the third one was a little better. I feel like he listened more. That's probably because I called him out such as it was, that he wasn't really listening to me. So he tried to be more patient and listen to me more. And again, it was an okay conversation, but I didn't feel like it was really worth $100 to have that conversation. And yeah, I just haven't been back to therapy since. And I guess I'm not a therapist. I was told I should be a therapist once because I'm good at listening to people. A few people in college told me that I was a good listener, so they recommended I should try becoming a counselor or something. But I was always like, I don't know. But I kind of feel like for a lot of therapists, I've heard other people talk about this too, how they've just had bad experiences with therapists where the therapist didn't really listen to them. The therapist didn't really even make any pretense of caring about them. They didn't make them feel heard. And it makes me wonder, like, what makes somebody become a therapist? Is it because they really want to help people, or is it because they just think, hey, I like listening to people tell their stories. I like, maybe it's just because they're interested in hearing about people's drama or whatever, and they enjoy that. So they figure, hey, somebody will open up to me about all the problems they have in their life, and that'll be exciting for me. And I get to listen to this stuff all day. Like, maybe they're the same kind of people who watch soap operas or whatever. I don't know. I'm just theorizing here. But yeah, I've heard people talk about therapists who are really good, who really help them, and I don't want to discount that, but I guess for me, I just feel like after all my experiences with therapy, they feel kind of ineffective. They feel like they don't really do much for me. So I'm kind of at a point now where I'm just not even bothering thinking about therapy anymore because I just don't think it's going to help me. It's never has, and it probably never will. So I don't even, that's not for me. It's something that's even on my radar anymore because I really think I just need to figure out other issues in my life, like how to manage my own neurological issues and how to find friends, how to find whatever. I mean, I'm going to look into stuff about how I can just do things for myself because I don't think a therapist has the answer for me. And I can't remember where I read this. I think it was on some website or something. Somebody wrote, I'm tired of being told that I should go seek therapy. I don't need therapy. I need someone to love me. I don't want to go pay somebody to pretend to care about my problems for an hour. Like, I want to actually have someone who cares about me. And I'm like, yeah, I understand that. That makes sense. So, yeah, I think therapy has become kind of this easy solution that people can just recommend. Like, oh, you're not doing well. Well, maybe you should see a therapist about it. Like, it's just kind of a generic answer that it's kind of a go-to way of dismissing people and dismissing their problems. Like, oh, you should see a therapist about that. If you're unhappy, go see a therapist. Like, I frankly don't think I'm ever going to give that advice to anybody because to me, I see the sort of limited value of therapy, and I don't think I need to perpetuate the whole therapy industrial complex. So, yeah, I don't know if this was particularly interesting or not, but I'm just some thoughts I had about therapy. And if you have ever had bad experience with therapists, hey, you're not alone. I mean, if you feel like therapy is a waste of time, you're not alone. I'm right there with you. So take that for what it's worth, and guess I'll talk to you next time. Bye.